What's up, guys? Nate here again. Today we are going to tackle Imola. I have finally gotten below a 41 and into the 40s with a 40.797. So we're going to count it as a 40.7. And today I'm going to show you how exactly we did that, what was going through our head to achieve that, and hopefully some things that'll help you drop your time too. So let's get into it. All right, so we're flying down the main straight, and you wanna straight line this as much as you can. I was racing against somebody yesterday, and he was jogging all the way out to the right here, and just using too much track. So you don't want to do that. So find the apex of this left-hander and aim straight for that. Don't hit the curb; that can slow you down a bit, but just straight line it. Now let's slow this way down and try to figure out where we're going to brake. A lot of people use the sidewalk here as their reference point, which is fine. But in the M4, I do believe you can brake a little later, kind of halfway in between where the curve ends. Kind of looks like the 100 board, but it's probably a little before the 100 board. So the curbing up here starts kind of halfway between the curbing and this concrete here. But let's look at where we actually applied it. Okay, so we eased into it a little earlier this lap. Let's take a look at that replay. Yeah, we were fully on the brakes by the time we got to that center section. And what you want to do here is drift all the way onto the curb, start turning in somewhat early, because you can turn into this corner and carry a lot more speed than you think you can. And then depending on the car, you want to hop this curb. Now let's talk about hopping the curbs. Essentially, the only reason that we're able to hop this curb and this curb, the only reason we're able to hop those curbs like that is because the weight of the car is on the other side of the car. If you try to straight line those curbs, they will wreck you. But for that first left-hander, if all the weight is on the right-hand side of the car, then the left side is going to take it quite a bit better. So that's why weight transfer is so important. So just remember that when you're going through almost every corner here at Imola. Watch it at 50% speed. Turning in basically as the 50 board goes out of view. Getting the car turned so that the weight is on the other side. Move back to the middle a little bit, but the car can take it, and it's just flat all the way through. Now this is a tough corner to nail. This section of the track, very tough to nail. Let's see where I'm braking at. This one I kind of do more on feel, but it's essentially, you can see this 50 board. When the 50 board disappears, that's when we're getting on the brakes. So we're on the brakes. Make sure to get off the brakes before you go over the curb. If you're on a little bit, that's okay, but the car is going to react better if you're not on the brakes. Go over the curb, back onto the brakes. We're downshifting all the way to second. You can do it in third, but you really have to do this perfect. And then this curb, we could take more curb. I've seen people take more curb, and I think that's where the last few tenths maybe lie. So let's watch that again. Half speed. Stay over to the left as much as you can. Turn over early so you can get back on the power. And then this next one, brake right after the tire marks start. The dark brake markers. Keep this nice and tight. ease off of the brakes, back on the throttle. And if you've been watching closely, you'll see that I switched down to TC1 for this corner. I did extensive testing yesterday to try and figure out, was it worth it? For this hot lap, it was. However, I have TC1 mapped to a button, very easy to get to on my wheel. If I had to reach for a dial or something, I don't think this would ever be worth it. In race conditions, I did a couple of races yesterday, TC8 was the move. You know, there was a couple of times where TC1 allowed me to get where I wanted to a little faster, but there were a couple of times where I forgot to turn the TC back to 8, and we got a little loose and almost lost it. So, something to think about. There's 2 corners on this track where I think going down to a lower TC could be helpful, but not necessarily needed. All right, this corner is tricky, and you're gonna approach it, and as soon as you pass this 50 board on the right, you're gonna get hard on the brakes, and then as you ease off, you're gonna be moving the wheel to the left to try and get that back end to slide over. So hard on the brakes, and then we're easing off, trying to essentially find the right amount of trail braking to get the ass end of the car to move over. And sometimes I can get it to really move over quick, other times it's a little trickier, but that's just what you got to visualize. Braking hard, easing off, and then turning the wheel, experimenting with your brake pedal to see how you can get the rear end to come around. And then it's back on the throttle as quick as you possibly can. Hard brakes, easing off. Okay, we got it to rotate. Now we're back on the throttle. Car hooks up great. And we're off to the races. Also important, get over to the left here as quick as you can, because it saves you a ton of time. Oh boy. One of the trickier sections of the track. A lot of people like to brake very hard before going into this section. We might give it a little tap. Let's have a look. Nope. Oh, just a touch, and then we're easing onto the brakes. Hard on the brakes, and then as soon as you get down there, you're turning to come back up to the top. Now you want to get off the brakes as soon as possible before going up the hill here. I mean, as soon as possible. There's 2 or 3 tenths to gain if you get off the brakes early enough. So watch that again, 50%. Hard on the brakes, easing off, getting the car turned in, and on the throttle as quick as we can. I actually bump it down. Once the car is straightened out to TC1 again, and I think it helped. Now this chicane is tricky. This chicane, I always want to brake late, because in my mind, if I brake later, it's gonna be faster. We're really gonna fly through this thing. Don't do that, okay? You wanna brake right where this corner piece ends, essentially. Earlier the better. Hard on the brakes, and then we start turning in, ease off of the brakes, and you wanna be all the way off by the time you hit the curb. And then a little gas to get you through, turn the car, and then straighten out that wheel a little bit to try and get the power down. Once you come off that second curb, if your wheel is still turned and you're trying to get hard back on the power, it's gonna be a mess. But as long as you can make the corner, go over the curb, gas it hard, maybe turn in a little bit before the curb, just a touch. You do too much, you're gonna lose the car. Go over the curb and then straighten out, get on the power. Once again, I got down to TC1 there. Watch it again. Brakes, we're turning in. TC1, boom, we're gone. Then minimize the distance you travel here. I brake right after we pass the 100 board and keep it over as far to the right as you can. And then once I'm down into second, I'm turning in. And then once again, once you know you have the corner made, get off of those brakes, roll through it, back on the throttle. Look at this. Amazing. We were on TC1 that whole time, didn't even know it. Could have been a 40.5. So yeah, we'll go back and look at those corners. Hard on the brakes, hard on the brakes. And then we're turning in just as we pass the yellow Pirelli sign on the right. Ease off of the brakes, back on the throttle. And then off of the throttle, little tap of the brakes to rotate the car, wait for it, and then back on the throttle as much as you can. And that is a lap at Imola. If you guys do have any questions, you want coaching, setups, you name it, feel free to join the Discord. If you want to catch me live racing, league races, LFM, public lobbies, any number of events, feel free to find me at on Twitch, NML Racing. Twitter, same thing. My name's the same everywhere. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this, hit the like button. I'm going to try and keep another 1 or 2 of these coming per week. And I really do appreciate the support. So, cheers. Love you guys.